Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.
Welcome back to the Kick Out 2 podcast. This week we've got a little bit to talk about. It's not as in a little bit, it's a big bit. Obviously we had a lot of releases this week.
We completely forgot to kind of mention the post WrestleMania clean out. To be honest, when someone said it to me the other day, I was like, oh yeah, crap.
Yeah.
It was the post WrestleMania clear out that happens every year.
Mm-hmm.
And some really big shocks in there, I think, to be fair.
Yeah, so we'll kick it off. We'll go from the top of my list. So we had Braun Strowman, which was an interesting one because he's been released. This will be the second release. He was released. So
he's been back 2 and a bit years.
Yeah,
came back in 2022, 2023, didn't he?
And then they kind of put him in a feud with Bronson Reed. Obviously, then he got injured, so then he put him in with like Jake for 2.
Yeah, which was really working. But then obviously Fatu's become this big star that needs a title. And I think they've done the right thing by putting a title on him.
Mm.
But the problem with Braun is I just don't think he was nothing but a brute, was he?
Yeah, he was that big. He was just that. Even for when he was in the Wyatt family, it was just he's that big guy.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but there's nowhere for him to go. You know what I mean? Where you've got, as you said, Bronson Reed. I think Bronson Reed's star was starting to elevate really quickly.
Mm.
Like he moves. He is a big guy, but doesn't move like a big guy. And I think that's the big difference. That Braun Strowman moves like a big guy. He's limited to his moveset, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose the only kind of movement speed thing when he did his little whirlwind and then then obviously but they kind of now given that to like Bron Breakker where he does a lap around the ring and then spears the shit out of you.
But apparently one of the reasons why, if not the reason for Braun Strowman's release, so again there's been some sort of updates through the week, is that his wages were so high.
Oh really?
So apparently because they weren't utilising him in the way that his wages dictated, and apparently this goes for a few of them, but Braun's the one that they've kind of identified out.
Yeah,
his wages outshone his performances, and that's why they've let him go. I thought it was because he only signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people have got to remember. These people weren't sacked; their contracts just weren't renewed. So I'm assuming
not all of them.
Oh, really?
Not all of them. Yeah, not all of them. I think Braun was one of the ones that was actually let go out of his contract.
Okay.
And apparently that is because of his wages. And then we'll go through the list. And as there's some more additional reasons.
I don't know if they have the same sort of thing, like where we have redundancy, like here, where they have to like essentially like pay you to leave.
Well, they get paid for 90 days, don't they? So they get 90 days of free money still because they're not allowed to compete.
Mm.
So they get the 90 days. From what I understand, they get the 90 days. Or if you're in NXT, it's only 30 days.
It's only 30 days.
Which I find really interesting. But it kind of causes confusion for people that are on the cusp. So Shotzi being that one is very interesting.
Next on my list is, I'm assuming this is in alphabetical order, is Cora Jade.
I was massively shocked at Cora Jade.
Yeah, I thought that was a big surprise considering that she had like a NXT title. She was like featured on NXT quite heavily in the title run.
Yeah.
So that one was a bit of a weird one.
It's a weird one, and the more I see about things online, the more I'm not inclined to agree with them because it's not nice for anyone to lose the job. But again, it's where does she fit in?
Mm.
You know what I mean? If you take Roxanne and move her up to main roster, Cora Jade has always been synonymous with Roxanne. Like, can you think of another feud that Cora Jade has had outside of Roxanne or teamed with Roxanne?
Mm. See, that's this is again.
That's the problem.
Yeah,
she's not been.
This will obviously set you off if for anyone who knows. It's obviously they should have put Roxanne and Cora up to the main roster and put them as a tag team again, so it can sort out the tag title division. Obviously, Liv and Raquel and Liv and.
I think they're going to retire that title belt, and I think it was Zanti that was saying the same thing. Like, what are they doing with the belts? And I think like the sensible thing for them really is if they're not going to get invested in it, just retire the belts, man.
Yeah,
like you're killing off the big tag teams. We'll keep talking in a minute, but yeah, for me, Cora, she's not done with WWE. She'll be back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think she's going to go away, do a Drew, play on the Indies, play in TNA. If she goes to TNA, she'll be back in NXT next week anyway.
Yeah, true.
But she's been on the Indies, but I think this might be a chance for her to go into Stardom, stay with the America side, so do the Indies, do TNA, potentially AEW. I think again she'd get lost in that mix.
I think this is
what she needs to do. She needs to find that star power again.
Yeah, I think it's for a lot of the people that have released. This is their chance to kind of rebrand themselves.
Yeah. If you've not seen Matt Cardona's tweet is amazing.
Yeah. He literally left, rebranded, focused on him, and look at the success he's had. He's won 8 titles. I can't remember
who it was that replied to it, but I think I know who it was. We'll come to her in a minute.
Then Dakota Kai, which again was another weird because she's
not
only
really a shock.
I think it was weird because she's only recently come back from injury. What, again 2 months?
Yeah, but that's her fourth big injury.
Yeah,
I love Dakota Kai. Don't get me wrong, but she's another person that seems to be quite injured. Again, very much like Tegan Nox, just could not get started in WWE. Started to go on a wave and then get injured. You know what I mean? And that's upsetting. But I think Dakota, there's rumors again AEW were sniffing around her last year, or the year before. So she'll be fine. She'll be absolutely fine. I've got no issue with it. But she wasn't being used on WWE TV. You're right. She was coming off the back of another injury. Yes, you've got the Damage Control girls coming back, but no offense to Dakota Kai, she doesn't fit the aesthetic of Damage Control. I always found it weird that she was the one that was left. Even though she is, she's been in Japan, all that kind of stuff as well. So I don't know. I think she will be fine, but I wasn't surprised that she was gone, to be honest, or not renewed. I can't remember which way it was with her.
I think it was just renewal.
Yeah.
Then we had Danny Palmer.
Who?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Sorry, no offense.
Yeah, no, there's some of these people that I don't know, but again, I'm not. It's only recently since I've been back into the full swing of watching everything that's wrestling rather than just PLEs that didn't pay for the network. Yeah, Danny Palmer. No. Not a clue who that is.
We should also talk about Dakota Kai. Obviously, this was her second time in WWE. Yeah, obviously she was let go and come back, and
it seems. I think there's a few people where they've been released before. Because that's another one. You release them. They come back.
I don't think she'll come back. I don't think she'll come back to WWE. I don't see Dakota Kai ever coming back.
No, she'll probably go, AEW TNA or something like that. They like the two options, unless they go to New Japan.
What's her name? Tegan Nox has now just burnt her bridges with WWE with some of the stuff that she's been saying as well. Yep. So we'll have to wait and see.
Then we had Eddie Thorpe.
I'm mixed on Eddie Thorpe because, again, he wasn't a bad wrestler, but again, they gave him such a monumental push and nothing came out of it.
Yeah, because I was going to say, we've not seen anything since his match with Trick.
That's it. That was the last thing that really happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
After that, we haven't seen him.
I'm literally at that point now in his last year on NXT, where they gave him the big push and, he just didn't really get over with the crowd, did he? He didn't have that connection. And I know it's not always about the connection, but I just never thought he was outstanding in the ring. You know what I mean? He was good, but he wasn't outstanding.
Okay.
But obviously the partner of Dakota Kai, which is interesting.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't know much about Eddie Thorpe apart from the last couple of months where he was feuded with Trick Williams and Oba, but again,
that was 6 months ago.
Yeah,
that's the scary thing to say. That was over 6 months ago. It was almost 8 months ago because it was around sort of October, November time.
Yeah, and he hasn't been spotted since.
Done anything? No, and that's the problem.
It hasn't even come out if he was injured or anything.
No, the thing that for me for Eddie Thorpe was there's that guy in Level Up, not Level Up, LFG.
Oh, LFG.
Who's very similar to him, with the kind of American warrior kind of Inca thing. I'm being completely disrespectful, like with wolves and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I know you're on about.
Yeah, so for me, there was an opportunity for them to have a tag team like that, but obviously it's not going to happen. So, shame.
Yeah. This one was a shock for me. Gigi Dolan.
I don't even have words for that one. It makes absolutely no sense to me why they've released Gigi Dolan.
Yeah.
Out of all of them that have been released, she is the one. There was possibly one more that were front and center within the business. Like, literally just had a number one contenders match on Raw against the tag team champions. Has been on TNA week in, week out for the last couple of months as well.
Yeah.
As well as obviously NXT. So why it kind of, now you look at it, like you saw the other person that you're going to talk about in a minute kind of fade away, and that we were all kind of questioning that recently. But Gigi is a very interesting one.
Yeah, because I'm quite surprised because again they're just taking teams away from the women's tag division.
Yes,
and it makes zero sense. It makes zero sense for these titles to even be a thing anymore because they're just being carried around for nothing.
Worked alongside Tatum. And now I wonder where Tatum.
Yeah, that's what
Tatum's always been a solo artist, and
that's what I was waiting for. I was like, okay, so is Tatum going to come up? But we're like, 5 days, like a couple of days now past.
No. But again, Gigi going into TNA makes sense because that's her partner. So Zachary Wentz is over in TNA, part of the Rascals. Married, husband. So I think again, good opportunity for her to link up there. But
it's good for her.
I just don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get it. It's good for her though because she's classed as she's NXT, so she only got 30 days. So it's not too bad.
Yeah. And there was so speaking of her and Cora, now we can talk about both of them openly. They've both responded to, I think, Dave Meltzer. So there was a rumor going around backstage that people were let go because they were lazy.
Right.
And her and Cora were the first of the only two to like shoot back and say we were training every day, we were traveling around the world, like we weren't lazy. Like, and it's really interesting.
You could definitely see it
come out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Maybe it's just being twat.
Everyone was surprised that Dakota got cut, which is really interesting because like the others were more surprising for me, I think.
I'm more surprised with Gigi over Dakota.
Yeah,
because it literally, I just don't. It makes zero sense why she was released.
No, we will probably never know the actual reason, if that makes sense. Like, there's probably a reason, but we'll never know. Then there was Jakara Jackson. Was a big surprise. Again, really interesting that they literally just split up Metaphor, which we were going to talk about on the NXT side in a minute, and then let her go. Again, splitting ultimately a really good tag team that's been around for probably the last 3 years.
Yeah.
As part of the Meta group, as part of Metaphor, and then the Meta Girls, and then I don't know. Very interesting. Again, obviously that means to me that they're going to push Lash Legend to the moon. Yeah, potentially. She'll
probably get brought up to main roster, if anything.
Yeah. So I'm very confused on that one as well. Very confused. Yeah. But again,
I'm just
her ring work wasn't terrible, but she didn't have. Every time there's a release, I look at like their in ring and then like their ability to adapt to the crowd. She didn't have any interaction with the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing that the crowd really got behind her with. And that's a shame, because, again, her ring stuff was decent. Her tag team stuff was decent. So, who knows?
This person, not got a Scooby-Doo who he is. Is it Javier Bernal?
Javier Bernal. Yeah, I was the same. I was like, I had to look him up. And there's, again, absolutely no disrespect to that guy.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
But just, wasn't sure who he was.
Yeah, skip past you. Joe Coffey.
So Gallus boys, we might as well just talk about Gallus in general.
Because Mark, Joe and Mark,
all three,
and
again, they've been down in developmental for a while, helping out. They were helping out on Level Up for a while. They were helping out like with training and stuff. So it's really interesting that they've let them go, and I think that one is purely wages.
Yeah,
I think that they're paying them too much money for them not to be on screen. But again, that's a creative side's fault, not necessarily the rest of the fault. You know what I mean? But again, these boys have been all over the world, so I've got absolutely no issue where they turn up. And if that's AEW or TNA, I expect them to turn up very, very quickly.
Yeah, they'll go somewhere. Katana Chance was another one.
We'll talk about both of them because Katana Chance and Caden Carter got released. Again, one of the only genuine women's tag teams that we had.
Another women's tag team just thrown in the bin.
Again, they were there WrestleMania weekend. So again, recently wrestling, but they hadn't been featured for a long, long time.
But again, that's a creative
problem.
problem.
And I think this is Chance's second time she's been sacked or let go now.
It just shows you, like, it's just really pissing me off, and it just shows that they clearly don't know what the hell to do with the women's tag team division at all. Even though they've got
there's a whole new wave of people coming in as well, and that's the other thing.
And it's really interesting because there was a lot of female wrestlers were released on this day, and it's just like Evolution's literally around the corner. Like, why are you releasing so many?
Seven women at the 15. So actually, it's a 50-50 split almost.
Okay, it's not too bad then.
No. But again, they've not been on TV for very long. But you're right, with Evolution around the corner, I just don't get it. But again, another team I could see in TNA. And there's this thing, isn't there? Like, if they're in TNA, they've got this opportunity to come back into NXT. Whether or not they will like to, I just don't know. You know what I mean? But it's really interesting to me.
You got to remember as well, I think where like loads of people are saying that, oh yeah, they'll go TNA. Like, yeah, TNA doesn't have the funds or the money to take all of them. They can take some of them
as well.
Yeah, a lot. I reckon a lot of them will go Ring of Honor, New Japan. AEW will probably try and pick up a load of them. Hopefully, maybe they'll just go, you know what, this is my chance to, as you say, as Mark Cardona told us, like, this is your chance to rebrand and make a name for yourself on the indie scene. Like, there's money on the indie scene. He is like proof in the pudding. There's money to be made. And invest in yourself, because no one else will.
But again, it's going out and changing the world, isn't it? So I'm sure the guys can go out there and do it.
Yeah.
So we just got to see, I suppose.
Then we had, is it Oro Mensah?
Yeah, Oro Mensah. I like Oro, but again, the problem is they split from Metaphor, kind of sealed his fate, I think. And again, going back in, he hasn't really done a lot in the last 12 months to kind of warrant. Again, I'm assuming this is a money thing or an end of contract. You know what I mean? Same.
Then we had Riley Osborne.
Hasn't been on TV, but just come off the back of an injury, I want to say, which I think is a really bad thing. I think he came back in March from an injury.
Okay.
But two things really, or is he still injured? He might still be injured. I'm just reading now. I think he is still injured. Yeah, he underwent surgery on March 7th, so technically he's still probably just under injury.
Okay.
But apparently there was some issue with him backstage.
Oh, he's
one of the guys. He's one of the guys that had an incident backstage or had something.
Yeah, it's funny. He's already he's changed his name already. He's gone back where he's gone. He's no longer Riley Osborne. He's gone back to his real name, Josh Terry, as of the 3rd. So he's already looking.
It was to do with non-wrestling things, apparently.
Okay.
It wasn't because he wasn't good enough. Apparently, it was something to do backstage. But randomly, he is Blair Davenport's husband.
Okay.
But yeah, so interesting. Again, they've released somebody who is injured, which is what the Good Brothers made jokes about and fun about this year. But yeah, that's interesting. I didn't realise he was English as well, but obviously it makes sense because Blair Davenport is English as well.
There was a host called Ryan Papaloa. I don't know who the fuck that is.
No.
So ignore that one. Shayna Baszler.
She's an interesting one.
Very interesting one.
She's a really interesting one to let go.
Again, because she's another workhorse. She's like day in, day out. She was obviously done Bloodsport recently.
Yeah.
She's been in the company long
time.
Yeah, it's weird. So
at least 10 years, almost 10 years, if not 10 years.
2017 is when she joined NXT. In 2020 went up to Raw. 2021 moved to SmackDown. She's gone, obviously appeared in GCW. Went back to NXT last year. Did again GCW, a couple of matches like Bloodsport matches, and then got released. Yeah.
So what I'm reading about Baszler is recently she's not been on telly, but she's been backstage at NXT. So she was helping coach in NXT. So
Yeah, if
people
you
feel
look,
like she might come back as a producer down the line, but like right
mate,
now they were paying her as a wrestler, but weren't using her as a wrestler.
So if I look at her card positions, so when she went to Raw, she was an upper card. So obviously,
Yeah,
she would have been, because obviously she would have been NXT champion, losing and then going into Raw. Then when she went SmackDown, she started as a mid card, then jumped to upper card. Then Raw was mid, upper, mid. So
yeah. She for me, like Shayna Baszler kind of flew the MMA banner really well. Like in NXT, black and gold NXT, there was no one more scarier than Shayna Baszler.
Oh, I saw a thing of there's only 3 people left from the black and gold NXT era that have still got jobs. I can't remember who. Is it Rhea Ripley? I think it was 2 women and a bloke, and I can't remember who they were.
She will, I think, again, like her history, she will probably end up with AEW, potentially reuniting with what the boys, Undisputed. It's not Undisputed Kingdom anymore. But basically, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, because she used to tag with them back in the day in Ring of Honor.
Undisputed Era.
I can see her back in Ring of Honor as well. So, yeah. So I don't see her struggling, but I think she'll come back one day as a backstage person, as a producer. It's a shame, man. I like Shayna Baszler, but again, she has been really, really wasted in the last year or two. But we'll have to wait and see.
Instead of bringing back fucking Charlotte and Becky and all these others, mate, just push some others. But
the thing is, as well, you've got, again, I'm trying not to sound disrespectful, but people are starting to push on in their careers. So Shayna Baszler is 44, Braun Strowman's 41, 42, might even be older than that. So there's some slightly older talent in there, but again, it's just a really interesting mix of everyone.
Obviously Wolfgang we already touched on with the other, and then the following day Shotzi was then released.
Shotzi's is a contract one though, isn't it? So they're not renewing her contract.
That one's it's just expired. They're not renewing it. But I can see obviously she was doing stuff over in TNA and bits. Obviously she saw some other bits go. I can see her probably going into or going on the indies.
Mate, she's going straight back to the indies. She's already hyping up everyone anyway, so she'll do the indies. She'll end up in an organization, I think. And then, do you know what? I'd like her to come back. I don't know, but the problem is we've talked about it a couple of weeks ago about the women's division being so stacked. The problem is if it's so stacked, everyone's fighting for screen time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you've got these big contracts. So the Julias, the Stephs, Zarya, Solruka right now, Jordan Grace. And then you've got the potential pickups of other people like Rio and, other women. It's really going to be tough for the ones that have got their contracts to carry on. You know what I mean? So even people like Nikita Lyons, I think, has gone back down to Evolve because she can't get screen time in NXT.
Yeah, because she's just come back off for an injury, hasn't she?
Yeah. So whilst I think the women's division is absolutely stacked, but it does take away a shine from some of those kind of veterans. But then when you put those other veterans, the Charlottes of the world, you know what I mean? It's just kind of is Charlotte better than Shotzi in terms of the public in the eyes? Yeah, unfortunately, Charlotte sells seats.
Mm-hmm. Right, with the women's division so stacked, great fucking tag teams for your women's tag belts that you don't know what the fuck to do with. Fuck's sake, you're giving Liv and Raquel God knows how long off because Liv's got to go and play a part in a movie. It's just what you should have done is strip the titles from the bitches and did something at Backlash.
Yeah, exactly.
For the titles. Don't let them just bugger off for a month, 2 months, however long it is going to be while she's gone, and then come back to what? Or if you were going to, if you're going to do it, let them bugger off at least when they came back, there would be all these women tag teams ready to fight them.
Yeah.
Like
my other thing is obviously they've just bought AAA, haven't they?
Yeah, because obviously they've got
again,
World Collide coming up.
AAA, or they're now saying that most of them have signed with WWE. This includes Alberto Del Rio.
Even
so the reports of him getting sacked were inaccurate, and in fact, he's just signed a deal with WWE.
But okay, that's interesting.
Via AAA.
Okay, that's interesting because he's not allowed back in the States, right? He's a wanted man. That is why he's not in the country.
But now WWE have now signed people like Vikingo, like because he's part of AAA, and Vikingo is an amazing.
Yeah.
So they have just taken on a whole organization. Like I can see why they're trying to save some money, but it's not great, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That they've bought this company and then got rid of some of their internals.
Look, there's definitely some other people, Apollo Crews for one, that could have been released over others.
You know my passion about
Apollo Crews, even bloody Ridge Holland. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Him, Apollo Crews.
Where is Ridge Holland right now?
Exactly. There's definitely other wrestlers that should have been let go than some on that list.
Clarify that, because it's wrong to say we want to let people get sacked, by the way.
Not is it like
people shouldn't lose their jobs.
No, obviously, it's either take pay cuts or take
yeah. But there are other people that probably could have gone instead of the people that we've lost. I think is the polite way of saying it.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to lose their jobs. Obviously, if it was down to like, look, we're not renewing your contract. Like, I can understand that, but like the ones that have just been let go because for the sake of reasons, or for the sake of like we need to save money because we've spent all this money on this lot. There's definitely a handful of people I would have put on that list rather than the ones that some of them have gone.
Agreed.
But there you are. We could quickly kind of talk about Raw and Raw, NXT, and SmackDown this week. We're a bit near.
NXT. Why do you always forget NXT?
I said Raw, NXT, and SmackDown.
No, you didn't. You just said Raw and SmackDown.
No, I said NXT.
No, you didn't.
NXT came out of my mouth.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
People in the chat agree with me.
No one's in the chat. There's no one there.
You don't know that. There's no one there.
There's no one there. The only things that
we'll cover Raw.
You go on and cover Raw.
Started off with what did I call them before? The Trinity.
You're calling them. Yeah,
so they have an official name. So the Paul Heyman Trinity. Well, it's just Paul Heyman and the Trinity, but we can't really call it the Trinity.
The new Paul Heyman guys, the new Paul Heyman group.
Yeah, I prefer Trinity.
The Paul Heyman
came out, talked their crap, and then Sami Zayn obviously came out, was trying to build bridges. Not really sure why Sami Zayn had to get involved.
Yeah, I don't really see the point in him.
And then obviously we're like, cool, we'll have a fight. Well, let's see who goes on, and it's I'm excited for this, and apparently they are staying as the three of them. They're not going to add anyone else in. It would be really interesting to add, I think, a female into the mix. I
thought it was really funny that Sammy did was it Jimmy or was it Jay? It was one of them where it was old bloodline, new bloodline. It was just like, and Jacob Fatu was staring, and he was just like, and if this fool, he's looking at the way he is, I'm going to knock his ass out. And Sammy just did the exact same thing. It's just like, mate, come on.
Get over it.
Yeah, I was like, Braun Breaker will kill you.
Braun's gonna kill you. But yeah, it was nice to see Sami Zayn back the week after the week after Raw, after WrestleMania. If that makes sense. Just about.
The following week after me.
Yeah, the following week after the Raw after WrestleMania.
Yeah,
there you go. So that'll be interesting. Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne. So again, Roxanne being up in the main roster. She looks so tiny compared to Mummy. It's terrifying how big Mummy is compared to like little Roxanne Perez. During that, Julia comes out, and then her and Roxanne then team up against Rhea Ripley. And then Io Sky comes out and makes the save, which will be interesting because that could be a really interesting tag team for the Backlash. Working together, I don't know, as an additional match. Maybe
but then you're not going to complain that Io should be defending her title at Backlash and not in a tag match?
Shut up. That's fine. But it's interesting again that they've called Julia and Roxanne up, but not officially called them up yet because they're not officially called up. They're still part of the NXT roster. Then we saw Logan Paul come out. Jey Uso came out. Jey Uso kicked him in the face.
Yeah.
Does this mean we're getting a Logan Paul versus Yeet match at some point? Yeah.
It hasn't been announced. It will probably be announced tonight, Monday. It is Monday the 5th. It will probably be announced that Logan Paul, Jey Uso for the title at Backlash on Saturday. Do you think that Logan deserves a heavyweight title match?
No, do I heck, but he puts bums on seats.
He does. That's the problem.
He's
what's best for business at the like. He's
your brother talked about it the other day. He's like, I know 3 things about wrestling. One is Logan Paul is a wrestler and is very good. And I was like, if that is one of the 3 things you know about wrestling, the current state of wrestling, he's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That someone that has no interest in following wrestling, no idea about wrestling, if he knows that Logan Paul is a wrestler and is good, that means Logan Paul is doing.
Well, as I said, even Triple H said, it's Logan Paul for someone who's never wrestled. He's too good.
Yeah,
he's too good of a wrestler who shouldn't be, who's never set foot in a ring before his life. Obviously, he's been there.
Putting eyes on the product that people would never not necessarily see.
And again, I think a lot of people are forgetting that he said that his full attention is wrestling and becoming a professional wrestler.
Yeah,
this is what he's doing now. There's no more like boxing matches. I don't think.
No.
Obviously, he'll still do he's still got his other side hustles like his Prime and his podcast and stuff. But he's 100% committed to being a full-time wrestling WWE superstar.
So does he deserve the match? No. Will it put eyes on the products? Absolutely. So
could they do what they did with Jey?
It wouldn't be a bad match. Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad match. It just doesn't have. Again, there's no storytelling to build this match up, but it wouldn't be a bad match.
No. I mean, it would be good, and it wouldn't even surprise me, would it? If they did what they did with Jey and pulled the trigger on Jey at the Rumble and then at Mania, imagine pulling the trigger on Logan Paul at Backlash. Could you imagine if he wins?
You can't take it off him this early. Well, they could.
They can. They can do what the fuck they want.
They could. Yeah. And then they just remove him from the company.
Yeah.
And then the New Day came out for the tag team match, which was between Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and the War Raiders. So the returning JD Donner back in action since coming back from that really nasty bump. Looked really happy in the match. Didn't look like he'd missed a beat. Did a couple of moonsaults just to, I think, clear the cobwebs. Penta appeared, pushed McDonough off the top, and then War Machine hit the finish, won the match. Interesting to see Penta get involved in this match. I don't think Dom was at the side, was he? Or was Dom at the side?
I think Carlito was at the side. Was Carlito? Yeah.
Yeah, Carlito was there, but no Dom.
I would have said
Penta getting involved
because JD turned up at Mania and pushed Penta off, attacked Penta. That's why Penta turned up here.
Yeah. And again, it showcased the only 3 tag teams that you've got on Raw now.
Yeah,
but didn't get the New Day involved, obviously. But there's only 3 tag teams now on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And with Fraxium now being added to the SmackDown roster, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
But again, they're fully stacking the SmackDown men's tag team, and Raw's getting
Raw is desperate.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a bad match. Nice to see McDonough do the moonsaults just to make sure he can still do them. As a confidence thing.
That punctured lung is fully healed.
Yeah, man. Becky comes out, does Becky things, tells everyone that she was the one that attacked Bayley. So I was really happy with that because it made us just kind of get to the point straight away. She was like, "Yeah, I did it," And what? I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no beating around the bush.
Yeah, I'm happy with that. Becky Lynch being Becky Lynch. Okay, cool. Lyra comes out. They want to fight, but they're going to do it at Backlash. Which is really interesting. Is she going to drop the title to Becky at Backlash, and then is Bayley going to come back and go for the title? I think that's the storyline, isn't it? For a bit.
It's the only thing that kind of makes sense because, again, like if Valkyrie, if she retains the title at Backlash, what's
next?
Yeah, what's next?
Bayley has
to
come back for being attacked, or she teams up with Lyra. To I don't know. Or is there a Bayley heel turn coming again? I don't know. But I think what's going to happen is she's going to drop the title, and then Becky and Bayley have a feud up until SummerSlam, and then take the title, or Evolution. That would work for me as well.
I say they've got with
me as well.
That's what I'm. It's just with again coming back to the women's tag match. It's like this is you've got Evolution's June.
Yes, there's 3 PLEs within like 2 weeks.
Yeah, so it's just like right, you've got all this time to basically build up storylines ready for Evolution, and all titles need to be defended. So that's the Intercontinental, that's the US, that's the SmackDown, the Raw, and the tag. They all need to be defended on this PLE.
Plus whatever else you want to throw in there.
Yeah,
like for across all 3 brands. But it does what we've been screaming out for, which highlights the Intercontinental. Having 2 big juggernauts like Bayley and Becky Lynch fight over that title will do nothing but elevate it. Because the Chelsea Green thing is still going, and we'll talk about that about the SmackDown one later. So that's going to carry on. But I think having Becky and Bayley go after the Intercontinental just raises the title right now.
Yeah.
Because obviously Tiffany's got her stuff with
Nia now.
Nia, yeah. So, but yeah, so
and
you've
Naomi
got Money in the
Jade.
Bank. Yeah, Money in the Bank, Saturday night's main event, and Evolution. Although Evolution's not been officially announced yet, but we all know it's coming. Backlash. Becky wins the title. Bayley comes back. Decks Becky. Blah 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 blah. Title all the way up to SummerSlam or Revolution. So, that's what I see doing.
Yeah.
Rusev did his video. You got very excited about Rusev doing his video.
I thought it was a really good promo. Basically, just saying that he needed this time a way to go reinvent himself, and he's now basically gonna punish everyone that gets in his way that he feels that needs to reinvent themselves and should reinvent themselves and did what he did, and obviously saying that he was pretending to be Russian when he wasn't Russian. All this shit, and I was like, it's actually a really good. Really good storyline to actually do, like bring up your past, and the reasons why you left and what you did to get yourself back here. So it'd be interesting to see. It'd just be interesting to see who's he going to go after.
That was my question: where's the feud going? Who's he going after? Who's he fighting? That's my question. Does he go after Dirty Dom in the Intercontinental? Does he?
He could
pick a fight with Bron Breakker. I don't know, man. There's got to be something for Rusev. I guess time will tell. We also saw a little bit of backstage between Penta and Chad Gable with Ivy Nile. Obviously, Chad Gable's wearing the El Grande Americano's Numero Uno t-shirt. They get into another fight. Penta is everywhere, man, on Raw. Just getting involved in fights everywhere. And then we go to the Ivy Nile match against Steph Faker. Again, really interesting. They've brought up the NXT Women's Champion to fight Ivy Nile.
Yep, 2 weeks in a 2 weeks in a row that she's been on Raw.
Yep. So again, Fakir wins that fight, and then nothing really happens at the end. I thought something might have happened, but nothing happened. And we move on to the Pat McAfee thing, and goes Pat McAfee's like, I'm going to fight Gunther. Look at me, happy days.
Yeah. Whoop-de-doo.
Does anyone really care about this match? No. Is it going to be hilarious that Gunther kills Pat McAfee?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it a waste? Is it a waste of a match card? Yes.
Yes. Do I see somebody getting involved? I would love to see someone get involved,
Michael
like
Cole.
a Wade Barrett or a Nick Aldis.
Michael Cole.
I would love Nick Aldis to get involved in the fight, and then Nick Aldis and Gunther have a match down the line at SummerSlam.
He did say that they are like he is still wants to wrestle. He's just waiting for the right feud.
Yeah, and I think
Gunther
this
could be the
feud.
feud. Could be the feud.
Gunther could be the feud. And then we got the decision of Sami Zayn talking to Seth Rollins, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Then we have the match of Sami versus Braun, part 750, I think it is.
Whatever else.
Breaker hits the super spear, throws him in, throws him again, pin 1, 2, 3, cool. And then Rollins stamps on Sami's head with the stomp, which is fine. We also saw during the match, or just before the match, Logan Paul took out Jey Uso, so there could be no save, which again is really good storytelling. But it's setting up that Logan Paul Jey Uso match at the same time, stopping the guys from having any interference in the match that we just saw as well. So yeah, not a bad Raw, just nothing groundbreaking, but it has set up a few feuds that are potential down the road. So the Logan Paul versus Jey Uso thing. Sami, who knows what's going to happen to Sami now?
Yeah,
and then the women's picture is all over the place, but we'll have to wait and see where it comes to. So yeah, it wasn't a bad Raw, not a great Raw, not a bad Raw. And then we go to my favorite show on Tuesdays,
NXT.
starting off with the man, the myth, the legend, Joe Henry, coming out talking about Trick Williams coming down to TNA and attacking him. I wasn't very happy. Joe Henry calls him. What does he call him? It's like a bitch or something. Isn't
Pretty
it?
much calls him a bitch. Little crybaby back. Yeah, cry baby back bitch or something.
And then Dark State attacked, and I found this really weird that Dark State attacked Joe Henry. Because again, is it because secretly Trick Williams is the head of Dark State, or is it just purely because they wanted to attack him? Lots of theories and questions.
It'd be interesting. It's one of those two. Either Trick Williams is part of Dark State, or it's because Dark State just do what the fuck they want.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be interesting either way. Quick promo between Jordan Grace, Io Sky. I love seeing Io Sky back in NXT because it's just one of those things that Io Sky should be everywhere right now, I think. Just my opinion. Setting up the tag team match for herself and Jordan Grace against Roxanne and Julia. Then we got the North American Championship match, which was Ricky Saints versus Lexis King. I think last week I said I wasn't sure about the Rochambeau. He hit it perfectly on Lexis King.
Yeah.
And it looked believable as a decent finisher. So I actually was really impressed with it this week. But Lexis King and him have had many matches before. So I think there's good chemistry there as well. But I think, he hit the Rochambeau this time and it looked really good. Lexis King's a weird
He's
person,
a weird guy.
Yeah, but he's like where he sits in the roster, I just find really interesting. Because he's been chasing the Heritage Cup, but now he's after the North American. Like, I don't think they're ever going to put the championship on him, but I don't know. He just sits in that weird ethos, doesn't he? But Ricky Saints picking up the easy win, and I think again he's fitted into the NXT roster really quickly. I think the crowd are behind him. I didn't think the crowd would get behind him that quick.
No,
I didn't think people knew who he was. But he's just got something about him, apparently, that the audience seems to like.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. Say when he came, I was just like, do people actually know who he is? And it did surprise me. It was quite a lot. Which, to be fair, it shows that people are now branching out and they are watching other wrestling, not just WWE fanboys and they are branching out and watching other stuff.
They still exist.
Oh yeah, they are. Like you see it online all the time.
Nothing exists but WWE.
But then you can say that about like AEW. There's like AEW fan people, and they're just like, it's AEW or WWE. Don't know what to talk about. Shut up, mate.
Yeah, WWE was here first. It will be around long before AEW finishes as well, more than likely.
Yeah, probably at some point, WWE will swallow AEW. They'll buy them, and it'll just they'll keep them separate, and they'll just do what they're doing with TNA and AAA and all these other companies.
Yeah, that's it. They just keep buying companies. Yeah. It's turning into the old 90s WWE where you just buy
it's TKO are just buying up everything. So there'll be TKO
charging out the arse for pricing.
Yeah, it will be TKO will pick up TNA, and they'll pick up probably all these other companies, and prices will be ridiculously expensive.
Yep, that's what I see in the future as well, which is not great. The D'Angelo spit. So Tony D'Angelo in the middle of the ring, surrounded by bodyguards, talking to Stacks via webcam, whatever you want to call it. And then 3 of the bodyguards attack Tony. He dispatches them, and that sets up another match for them down the road, which I really like as well. Again, I think Stacks has always been in the shadow, but what I can see happening is that Don is forced to leave NXT, goes up to the main roster. Stacks takes over the family. That's my big prediction.
Becomes the new Don.
Yeah, that's my big prediction.
Okay.
And then the heartbreak for me was the Metaphor ending. Noam Dar, all 4 of them in a room, and then they're like, no, we all need to go our own way. And Metaphor have been around for 2.5 years, almost 3 years.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a shame. And then obviously what's happened at the end of the week is even more heartbreaking as well.
2 of them get released.
Yeah, so bit of a shame all round. But again, it's always good to see Noam Dar back. So we'll have to wait to see where he goes now as well. North American champion Sol Ruka with Zarya versus Carmen Petrovic. Easy win. Soul Snatcher wasn't the greatest match. And then the Petrovic Adonis love triangle thing is finished. She kicked him in the head, which was kind of cool. Zarya is very lovingly looking at that title belt already.
Yeah, she is.
Do I want a Zarya and Sol Ruka feud? I can't tell.
Even if you don't want it, it's coming regardless. It's going to happen.
But I might write to them and say, don't do it.
And they'll tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, they will.
We do what we want.
Like their tag team was really good, and it was very innocent, and it was very dark, and it was just. But
you got to remember, they don't give a shit about the women's tag teams. I know. They don't care. Women's tag teams are nothing. Care,
I know. But Sol Ruka is a star regardless, and Zarya is, Zarya is already a star. Having them not 7 shades of shit out of each other, I will be very interested to see. Trick Williams came out, did Trick Williams things. Very heel Trick Williams, which we've not seen for a while, actually. So again, it wouldn't surprise me if he was revealed as Dark State's leader. And I'd be all right with it. You know what I mean? I'd be all right with it. It wouldn't be too bad. Then we saw The Undertaker back in NXT, talking to Obafemi. Talking about LFG, talking about this is his yard, all that kind of stuff. All that good stuff. But again, having an Undertaker appearance is always good to see. And then the best tag team on the planet, but not according to you, was Hanka Tank versus Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura. We got his name right this week. That's right. I've learned how to say his name. I like Hanka Tank. I don't care what you say. I think Hanka Tank are wicked. Obviously, retain their title. It wasn't the best match, but Hanka Tank is wicked, and it does look like we're going to get a Josh Briggs, Yoshiki kind of heel turn face fight very shortly. Even though Yoshiki was supposed to be going back up to Noah, so that'll be interesting as well. Who else? What else was there? Andre Chase is back. That makes me happy. Chase U is back. And then we saw Kalani demanding a title shot, and Zarya saying, "No, you got to go through me." I'm down for that match. Kalani Jordan versus Zarya. I'm happy for that match to happen. I can see an accidental bump happening here, so Ruka getting involved, and it all goes sideways. But we'll have to wait and see for that one. Hanka Tank, catch up with Joe Henry. If you need backup, you just got to do the honk honk, as I know you like to do, Liam. See, you're smiling. You're smiling. You know you love the honk honk. Say it. Honk honk. And then the main event, obviously Io Skyver and Jordan Grace versus Roxanne Perez and Julia. Everything you kind of expected from this match. I wish it was a longer match. Just wasn't long enough, as always. 4 brilliant women in the ring, and it ended with Io Sky hitting the over the moonsault against Roxanne Perez, protecting Julia, which I found really interesting as well. But a really kind of good NXT. And then it's announced that Jordan Grace and Julia will go one-on-one this week to face Steph at Battleground. Could this be the opportunity for Jordan Grace to have that one-on-one, or is it going to be Julia again? And I think that's going to be really interesting to see, because I feel Roxanne Perez shenanigans are going to get involved.
Maybe. What was I going to say?
How impressed you were with the matches?
No, I was going to say that my favourite tag team the longest NXT tag team champions was the Ascension. They were my favourite. Their record is still intact.
Until they went to the main roster and then became absolutely crap.
Yeah, because that was the Vince McMahon era. They had a thing of bringing people up from NXT, not knowing what the fuck to do with them, and then failing hard, and it sucked.
My favorite NXT is American Alpha, without question.
Yeah,
American Alpha. Before, obviously, he had his heart attack / whatever it was. Yeah. Chad Gable back then was amazing. He's amazing now, but you could just see the potential that they both had. They just reminded me so much of like the Kurt Angle boys back in the day. But yeah, I have an American Alpha T-shirt somewhere in this house.
Yeah, it was. The Ascension and then Fraxim were second.
Fraxim, yeah,
was second longest at 229 days.
Yeah,
Fraxim.
but we can't also forget Undisputed Era. Like, I know they're a quad.
Yeah, Undisputed. I do love Undisputed Era.
You can't deny that Undisputed Era were not an amazing tag team. Cool. That's NXT. You can talk about SmackDown.
I don't want to talk about SmackDown. Can't give a shit.
Why do you not want to talk about SmackDown?
To be fair, this week for wrestling was just really boring. The only good thing was Aleister Black. We saw Aleister Black have his first match against The Miz. Really good to see him back. Again, I'm glad they put him with The Miz, someone who, like a veteran who's been there. He can kind of work with everyone and anyone.
He's familiar with him.
They've wrestled before in the past. Obviously, seeing Carmelo Hayes with that god-awful bloody Andre the Giant.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to talk about
bloody.
Andre,
that is whoever's idea was that. You need sacking because that thing is ugly. I can't believe Carmelo Hayes is even wearing it.
He had to wear it. The Miz gave it to him.
I know, but it's so ugly. It's so horrible. Just having Andre's giant head just placed on you.
I'm surprised you haven't talked about the fact that Cena came out straight away.
Care?
Oh, okay.
You think I'm a Cena fanboy, but I'm not.
Cena and Orton had their Cena and Orton conversation again.
Yeah, Cena Orton, blah blah blah. Yeah,
no, you're right. Aleister Black having his first match, you had to have him against someone he knew, and I think The Miz is that kind of guy. And then Carmelo Hayes could be his next opponent, which would be a really interesting one. I'd love to see a mid-air Black Mass. Like Carmelo Hayes goes up in the air and he just gets caught by Aleister Black swinging a kick in the face, like while he's in mid-air. Yeah. That would be amazing. I'm
looking forward to seeing what Triple H is going to do with Aleister Black, because obviously he was one of his guys when he was in NXT. It was so it'll be interesting to see what they do with him this time around.
Yeah.
Whether they're gonna maybe they'll create some like their own House of Black version in the WWE would be interesting. Maybe like just trying to think who. Because it would have probably made sense if you put like him, Rhea, and Damien like as like their version of the House of Black against the Judgment Day. But then again, it'd be interesting. Obviously, whether they do like their own version of House of Black or just let him be solo. I'm happy either or. I just want to. Hopefully, he does great. I want to see like the Intercontinental title around his waist, the US title around his waist, something within. The next few months.
The problem is the US title picture, and we're going to talk about it in a second. Like, it's so busy right now, I think.
Yeah, obviously we had
you got the LA Knight Damian Priest match.
LA Knight Damian Priest match again. That whole blah 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 blah, setting up their match.
But then Solo getting involved, which is really interesting.
Yeah, again, I think I've said that briefly. I think because there's that whole button of heads of like. Solo thinks he's the head of the table still. He brought Jacob in. What Jacob is, he made that title. He's the like because of Solo, and like Jacob's just like, no mate, fuck you. I did this. Didn't need your help. Don't need it now. So I can see at some point there'll be a feud with them two, still with Jacob holding the title. So which would make
It's going to
Whether
be another 4-way match. It feels like another 4-way match coming, right?
there is at Backlash, it literally is. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it was.
Has it been announced?
It's on the card.
Okay.
It's on the card that I've got. There's only 4 matches, and that's one of them. It's a fatal 4-way. Jacob Fatu, LA Knight, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
Which I can understand because obviously at the end of that match, obviously you had Solo interfere, then you had Priest interfere. So it sets that fatal 4-way up against. But I can see for either Solo interfering and Fatu losing, or at the end of it when Jacob Fatu's like holding the title, Solo just gives him that Samoan spike and sets up for the next PLE. One of the two.
Okay. I'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I don't see him dropping the title anytime soon. Let's be honest.
I can't.
They've put the belt on him. He's going to hold that belt for his.
It'll probably be till
as long as
summer, with SummerSlam being 2 nights.
Yeah, that makes sense. I keep forgetting it's 2 nights.
Yeah, first time ever, 2 nights.
Yeah, cool. I'm down for that. Let's see what happens.
So it'd be interesting to see what matches they do with that, and I can see him probably hang on to it till then.
Agreed.
What else happened on SmackDown?
You then had Fraxium versus Pretty Deadly.
Oh, we had Fraxium's first match. With
second match.
The second
match?
Where's their
Los Garza? They did Los Garza.
They did, yeah, they did. That was their first.
But they kind of blew through Pretty Deadly. Like it didn't. It was a very quick match.
Yeah, I can. Match. The takeaway I took from it, you could see how good Pretty Deadly are, where they basically had to change the ending when the blonde guy got cut. Yeah, basically got an elbow in the mouth and started bleeding, where they had to quickly alter the ending, and the other guy had to then basically take all the finishes. It was an it was an okay match. It was interesting.
It was just a very quick match. That's what I mean. Yeah. Like, he didn't really get to... Like, I've not seen Pretty Deadly squashed very quickly in a long time. But it's, again, you're probably right. It's probably due to the fact that there was blood and an injury.
Yeah.
More than anything
you can see when
that's bad. I hope they cut it short because he got injured.
Yeah, you can see...
cut short because
once that happened, the match slowed down a lot. Mm-hmm. And they were like, quick, we just need to get the finish. Like, obviously, when he pulled him up, he was just like, right, quick, we need to finish this now. You're now going to take the finish. Right, quick, go. Boom, 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 done. Leave.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming it's going to be, are they trying to build up Fraxium really quick, which they don't even need to, based on their NXT history, to get them straight into the title picture.
That's it. People know who they are, what they're about. But again, a Fraxium versus
Street Profits.
Street Profits would be wicked. So,
mate, Fraxium versus DIY, Fraxium versus Street Profits, Fraxium versus.
I think it's time to move a tag team over, and that will be maybe something we talk about next week. Is which tag team from SmackDown would you move over to Raw?
Ooh.
There you go. Something to think about for next week. We're not going to talk about it now, but something for you to think about for next week is which tag team you would move over.
Who we moving over?
There is rumours again of a brand switch coming again. Another draft.
Okay, interesting. I was about to say they normally do a draft this time of year.
They did like an open draft last year, didn't they? So it was like you can come and go as you please, but they didn't do like an affirmative, this is it.
Not like they used to.
No, we moved on to Chelsea Green because then Piper got a match set up against the US champion
Lena Vega.
And then we had everyone coming out talking about I want to fight Tiffy. So we had Naomi, Nia Jax, Jade Cargill. So cool, we'll have a tag match tonight. Wicked, happy about that. Loving Naomi's evil work at the moment. Her dark work is
her as a heels. It's actually it's really good.
She's embraced it fully with the even with the dark makeup. We love it.
Not the
mismatch.
Not an oval fan of her caution ring gear, but
I like that
this week this week was better than last week's.
Yeah, it's better than the glowy stuff, no? Okay.
Anyway.
Rey Fenix versus Santos Escobar was set up for later in the night. Then we had the Women's United Champion match against Piper Niven. Selena Vega should not be able to roll up Piper Niven. Full stop. I'm just going to leave it there. We're going to move on. That's all I'm going to say about it.
You don't have to say it. It should not have it. It's not a thing. It shouldn't
the
be.
4-way was announced. You're correct. It was announced during SmackDown. So the 4-way for the United States men's title was announced in SmackDown. Then we had Orton come out. So I got my weeks wrong. Orton came out and did his little, I'm going to kick Cena in his Lego-shaped head this week promo. And then R-Truth and Jimmy had a little bit of a conversation. Then we had the Rey Fenix Santos Escobar fight, which actually was really good. But Rey Fenix finished it with a Meteora, which was a bit of a weird finish.
No, so it was... Sorry, but rewind a little bit. So R-Truth went to Randy Orton and told Randy Orton he was going to lose to his best friend John Cena. Then Jimmy came out and basically told R-Truth to shut the fuck up because Randy Orton will kill him.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I love bloody
R-Truth's comedy gold. Like, he'll never be released. Yeah, he's funny.
I was confused on the Rey Fenix finish because it was a top rope Meteora. It wasn't a flashy finisher. It wasn't anything else. It was a Meteora. But clean finish, no interference, which is nice because it's not very often we get clean finishes, especially when there's people that have tag
well, I
teams in the
think
background.
Santos and the Los
Garza
boys are probably on not great terms considering what happened last time because Santos was just like you suck.
Yeah.
Basically, you two suck. So I think they're a bit like meh.
Yeah. And then we had the women's quad tag team, dual tag team, whatever you want to call it. It's just a tag team match. What is wrong with my brain? It wasn't that bad. There were some really big shows of strength from Jade Cargill picking up Nia Jax. Quite comfortably, I want to say.
It looked when she got her off the turnbuckle for the power bomb. It didn't look that stable.
No, but she still picked her up.
She did,
which is impressive. Full stop.
But also, Jade Cargill doing a power bomb finisher, because she got the 1, 2, 3 interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then again, that makes sense from a fact that Nia Jax should never have been power bombed and probably would never know how to kick out of it if you were doing that kind of like non-whimsical kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. It was Jade that got the pinfall, not the champ.
True.
I think that's what was interesting. And then obviously Cargill and Stratton play tug of war with the title. Then Naomi kicks them both and then takes the title and poses with it. So are we going to get a fatal 4-way at Backlash for that as well? Because that could be an interesting. A fatal 4-way for that would be very interesting.
I'm just trying to, because obviously Backlash is a SmackDown PLE. So I'm just, because they haven't, I'm assuming it will be Tiffany versus Nia.
They haven't announced it.
And it's weird because obviously, are they going to announce it on Friday, the night before Backlash?
So what are your 4 that you've got?
So obviously John Cena, Randy Orton.
Yep.
Lyra Valkyrie and Becky Lynch.
Yep.
Pat McAfee.
So that's a Raw match.
Oh, okay, that's a Raw one. Okay, maybe not then. I was thinking it was all SmackDown. Pat
2 and 2 at the moment.
Pat and Gunther, and then
which is a Raw match,
and then the Fatal 4-way,
which is a SmackDown match. So yeah, it's 2 and 2 right now.
Okay, so we've got no. Obviously, obviously Logan Jay's going to get announced tonight.
Yep.
So that'll be 5. Will they then
I think
do?
There has to be a Tiffany match, or do they wait for Money in the Bank?
Yeah,
Is Money in the Bank the next one after Backlash?
Are they going to do? Because obviously, because War Raiders defeated JD and Judgment Day. So they're now the number 1 contenders for the New Day, but then it wasn't announced for a Backlash match, which was interesting.
Nothing's been announced.
So, okay.
Maybe they roll that into, like I say, into Bank.
Maybe.
Which is the next one, isn't it?
I think so.
Money, 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 money.
Obviously, there'll be no women's tag defense.
Of course not. Why would there be? Rah.
Yeah.
June 7th.
Okay.
Apparently. So that is really soon.
Hmm.
That's less than a month away.
Yeah, we've got it's like back to back. There's a period where it's literally back to back to back PLEs, isn't it?
But they need to then start doing the qualifying matches for Money in the Bank. So I guess that will be after Backlash.
Yeah, because that. Yeah,
so we'll have 3 or 4 weeks of that.
So next week. Okay.
So maybe next week we talk about predictions for that as well. Then maybe after Backlash, maybe we have a look at it and go predict the 5. Are they doing 5? Are they doing 6? Are they doing 8? I don't know how many entrants they're going to do this year for Money in the Bank. I'm going to go 6.
We'll have to look see what they did whatever they did last year. But we could talk about the next one. So we'll end even though we've only got 4 bloody matches, we'll end the podcast with our Backlash predictions.
Yes, sir.
John Cena, Randy Orton.
Cena.
Yeah, Cena's not dropping it at Backlash.
No. Travis Scott's going to come out again. And this time blow a load of weed in Randy Orton's face. And he's going to be all confused.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Cena hits the punt.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, Cena for the win, absolutely.
Yeah, Cena for the win on that one. There's not much more to say on that one. Lyra, Becky. So Baker, obviously, based on what we've talked about, I'd say Becky because it makes more sense. For then, obviously, Becky wins, and Bayley comes out and attacks her, setting their matchup for for Money in the Bank or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if they even long it out for SummerSlam.
Yeah.
So Becky, we're all good for Becky.
Becky
all the way. Pat McAfee, Gunther.
Gunther's gonna slap the crap out of him.
I think if they let Pat win, Gunther will quit on the spot.
Yeah.
Or even if
I see somebody getting involved in that match, I really want it to be Nick Aldis.
I can see bloody Michael Cole getting involved.
No, I can see the Nick Aldis thing being triggered.
I can see
Nick Aldis gets involved because Gunther won't let go.
Yeah.
Nick Aldis grabs him, Gunther slaps him, and Nick Aldis does his... Is it a DDT that he used to do?
I can't even remember. It's been
as
that
a finisher.
long.
Whatever his finisher is, I really want to say it was a DDT.
I can see... I don't know why. I can see Gunther going for the pin and Michael Cole pulling the ref out or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gunther's definitely going to... There's no way they're going to let him loose to Pat McAfee.
Gunther's definitely winning. But I think this is where Nick Aldis gets involved. I would hope, anyway.
It would be it'd be interesting. That's what I'd hope it happens.
Yeah.
And then
Fatal... So he has the clover leaf. Sorry, I'm watching a video on Nick Aldis finishing. So he has a clover leaf. So I can't see him doing the Texas clover leaf on Gunther. Although he could. If Gunther's using the choke, Nick Aldis runs in, puts him in the Kings. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it could happen. Why not?
And
then the final one, until more gets announced, the Fatal 4-Way, Jacob for 2, LA Knight, Damien Priest, Drew McIntyre. I think we both already said, Jacob for 2, and then potentially a solo Samoan Spike.
Somebody.
Yeah, at the end.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will be... They're quite... I don't want to say predictable for these ones, but I don't see any title changes.
No.
Other than Lyra dropping the belt. I think might be the only title change. Everything else should be as it is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Other than that,
choice.
We'll throw it in there anyway because it might get announced tonight. Logan Paul versus Jey Uso.
If it's for the title,
it'll be for the title.
If it's non-title, I don't know. That's what's
it'll be title because Logan said he wants the title.
All right, then.
But I was
not dropping that title.
It will definitely. I would say Jay's picking up the win, but it would not surprise me in the slightest if they let Logan win.
Logan Paul winning Money in the Bank though. That's a really interesting thought. We'll come back to that one day.
Well, we can talk about that.
That would be a really interesting conversation. Logan Paul winning Money in the Bank. That's what I'm going to say right now.
He's done Money in the Bank before, hasn't
he? No, I don't think he has, you know.
He has. He's done it once.
Has he?
Yeah. It was like...
Last year?
No, year before. No, it was last year. It was the year Damien Priest won. That was
That
last
wasn't
year.
last year.
Was that not? Was that who won it last? No, it was
Was that
Damien.
last
Yeah,
year?
it was Damien because Damien Priest and Tiffany
No
won it
way was
last
that
year.
last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
So Damien Priest held the title last year, but it seems like a really short title run. No, he didn't. No,
He did pick
because
up.
Cody Rhodes has had the title over a year. There's no way that he was.
He
last
didn't
year's
win it
winner.
off Cody Rhodes. He took it
Cody
off.
took it
He
off.
took it off Drew. Because CM Punk cost Drew. Yeah, he took it off Drew when CM Punk like pulled him from the table. Wait, who did Drew take it off? Wait, who had it before? Gunther. No, not Gunther. Yeah, it was Gunther. Yeah, Drew took it off
So
Gunther.
Drew McIntyre. No, Money in the Bank last year was LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, Jimmy, and Chad Gable.
Wait, who the fuck? Wait, what?
Yeah, I'm telling you. I'm looking at it now. I told you it wasn't. Who won? Drew McIntyre won Money in the Bank last year. It was Tiffy and Drew McIntyre. I told you it wasn't last year for L because it was all. He was part of the Judgment Day.
Maybe so. Was it the year before then?
Yeah, so he won
So
it in
then
2023.
then.
Yeah, so Drew McIntyre won it last year.
Hmm.
Doesn't that mean that Drew failed to cash in then?
No, he cashed in. He successfully cashed in.
Did he?
Yeah. He held it till literally like for the longest.
No, I think you're drunk.
Oh no!
I
Wait a
think you're
minute.
drunk.
So last Money in the Bank, Damian Priest defeated Seth and Drew, and that was for
Yeah,
the World
WrestleMania,
Heavyweight Championship. Wait, so this was McIntyre's Money in the Bank cash-in match. Seth Rollins lost. He could never challenge for the title again for as long as Priest was champion. Had Priest lost, he would have had to leave the Judgment Day. Who did Priest cash in on? Priest definitely cashed
That's
in
what
and
I
won
was
it.
trying to think. Who did he cash in on? I can't remember. I'm scrolling.
So yeah, Damian Priest. Yeah, so Logan Paul was in that one because it was Butch, LA Knight, Logan Paul, Ricochet, Escobar, and Nakamura. And then when did Damian Priest cash in?
It was Punk that cost him the title, wasn't it? Punk came back. Damian Priest cashed in on McIntyre.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said he cashed in on McIntyre.
But how did he get the title?
What? How did Drew get the title? He took it off Gunther, didn't he?
No, he beat Rollins at WrestleMania last year.
Okay.
And then after, of course he did. He beat Rollins, and then as soon as he was celebrating, out came Damian Priest.
Yeah, because
he literally dropped it straight away. Yeah, he dropped it literally straight away.
Yeah,
because Punk came back.
Well, Punk was
came out.
Punk was at the announce table. He was on a commentary.
Yes,
in his armed bandage thing. But cool. But there you go.
There we go. We figured it out eventually.
Figured it out. Cool.
Because you were wrong.
You were wrong.
I think you were wrong.
No, you were
wrong. But yeah, I can see Logan Paul winning Money in the Bank. Just to put that out there.
Yeah.
No one else deserving of it right now. Unless John Cena wins it.
He'll have to drop the title before then.
No, he would just hold it. He's already said he's going to retire the belt. He might as well retire the Money in the Bank contract as well.
And as what, Matt? Could you? Well, to be fair, Brock Lesnar did it when he was champion. He entered the Royal Rumble.
But don't forget, the Money in the Bank contract is a championship match of any championship.
He could just hold. Well, thing is though, he would have to, because obviously you have a year to cash in. He's gone at the end of the year. So
yeah, he went at WrestleMania, which is like the one pay-per-view before Money, the second to last one, isn't it? He held it one of the longest times to Damian Priest. He held it really long time.
No, I'm just trying to think. You said if John Cena entered into the Money in the Bank.
He's going to hold it, man. He is. He's going to hold it.
Till the end of the year. He's going to leave with
why
the
not?
undisputed
It's a
title.
good story.
To be fair, that title doesn't really... The undisputed title doesn't really make sense because obviously it was when both titles were unified under one. That's
The
when
Undisputed.
that was undisputed. So that title kind of doesn't make sense anymore because you have the heavyweight title and the undisputed. So maybe this is where they
split the titles. They split the titles again, didn't
they?
People
So
were complaining that the World Heavyweight Championship belt needed to come back.
Yeah. So they should have really not named it as undisputed. Or was it Universal now? Is it Universal Champion?
The Universal's retired. That's gone.
Okay. So maybe they should have changed.
Universal's the one. Yeah.
They should have changed.
Retired.
Yeah, they should have changed the undisputed to Universal when they split it.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping the
or just
undisputed.
go back to the WWE champion.
Yeah.
And then have the World Heavyweight, which is what they've got anyway.
Mm.
So, but yeah, no, they retired the Universal because they were saying the other week, I think it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, because obviously Roman Reigns was the last Universal champion.
Mm. Maybe this is where they'll just retire that Universal title.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that would be hilarious if John Cena. I don't think John Cena's ever done Money in the Bank, has he? No, he has. Of course, he has.
We'll have to. Yeah, we'll do.
He wins the Money in the Bank and then stops everyone else from cashing in on him. It's amazing.
We'll have to.
Hire me, WWE. I've written a story for you.
Past, but cool. Next week or the week after, we'll talk about Money in the Bank, our predictions.
Let's get through Backlash.
We'll get through Backlash and get through the week of the next week and two, and we'll go from there to see what we can try and predict on who will be in Money in the Bank, and maybe some of the stuff will get announced for Money in the Bank before then. We'll never know. But as always, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in future episodes, don't forget to leave a comment below. Again, thank you. Please. See you all next time. Bye-bye.